Okay, so my next idea is to make this rocket really look like it's blasting across the screen. As you can see, I did make it a little bit longer, and I removed the flames that were drawn on there because we're going to use the particle system, one of them, that's built into After Effects to make this look pretty good. Now, in order to do this, I am going to hide all the rest of the layers just so I don't get confused. And I'm going to show you how I was able to do this. I'm going to add a new layer. This is one of the effects that when you add the effect, the original whatever it is disappears. So I'm going to say layer new solid and just call it rocket blast. Okay, so that's going to be the blast of the rocket. Doesn't matter what color it is, because as soon as I go to effect and simulation, you can see there's lots of different simulations on here. We're going to try Particle Systems 2. When you do that, you don't see anything at 0 seconds, just the way this is built. But as you go forward, you can see all the particles start to spray out from this origin point. Let's go and look at those effect controls. So we're going to open up Rocket Blast, open up effects, and find the CC Particle Systems effect right there. And it has effects that you can control for the producer. That would be like, where is it located, how big the producer of all those particles is, how long they last, and how many of them are being born every second. And we also have physics. So under physics, we have different kinds of animation for this. We can just take a look. So that may make a twirly kind. There's a fire kind that shoots out. And it's not until you see it animating that you kind of get an idea of what the motion really is. I am going to try the direction. So it's going to shoot in a particular direction, and it can have a higher velocity. You can see it shooting out there. And I'm going to change the gravity. Gravity is going to bring that so that it comes like down in one direction the way we wanted it to. So I've added some gravity, and see what happens when I give it an inherent velocity. Sometimes you have to play with the numbers to find a combination that you like for the most part. There are also others like a direction that's normalized. You can jet sideways. This really comes out very powerfully, so it may not need quite as much gravity pulling it down. So as you can see, there's lots of different options. I'm going to use something like that. I'm going to shorten the longevity because I don't want it to be quite that long. So you can see here I'm just dragging the numbers. And why is it going from yellow to red? That is because down here at the bottom, for the particle itself, you can see that it is a line and that it fades out at the end. And it has a birth color and a death color. So that's going to give us that nice fire effect there. Pretty good. All right, so I'm going to move this over to here, kind of, sort of. Now it looks kind of funny like that. It needs to be under the other. So let me do this and move it under the rocket so that now we can do it that way. And what we have here is a solid, and the solid does have transform. So if I do click on R for rotation, I should be able to rotate this so it's coming out of the rocket there. So then I can move it. I might even increase the size. So close it and open it again so I can get to those effects. Go down the rabbit hole, as some people say. And let me go look at that producer again. Maybe I should widen it a little bit so that it fills in that a lot better. So if we watch this, it looks like the rocket is blasting away. Now here's the thing. I have two rockets. One is the rocket blast and the other is the rocket drawing. And if I move this, it's not going to move that. And there are ways of parenting things together, but it can get kind of complicated. So I want to show you another method. When I know that these two things are going to go together, I can turn them into their own mini composition. So I'm going to right click and say pre-compose. And it'll give me a chance to name the rocket blasting. So this is a component that will have its own transform properties. And now if I take it and I want to move it around, I can reposition it. One of the things I need to do, because I might want to have it turn, is the anchor point. Because right now, if I do some rotation, it kind of rotates around that point. Now, I know there's another way to do it, but I just know this way for right now. I can move the anchor point, and it looks like I'm moving the whole rocket, but it's repositioning the point around which it is going to rotate. So that is kind of sort of okay. This is what I usually end up doing, is I will adjust that, and then I'll take the rocket and move it where I need it and rotate it. I'm just going to have it go across the screen. So I'm going to rotate it like this and put it off the screen here. And let's go ahead and collapse these up. I just want to be able to see the rest of my stuff so I can make my scene here. So I've got Neptune, and I've got my rocket is turned on, and now I need to keyframe its position. So I'm going to go to the beginning here and keyframe the P for position. If I just choose rocket, I'll only get position of that one thing. Keyframe, go, let's see, right about here, and then I will change the position. So I can shoot across and go, well, I'll just do all the way across for the moment, and now I have the sunrise, Mr. Snake comes out, Neptune's a-glowing, and the rocket blasts across the scene. And of course, moving this keyframe together would make it go much quicker. So you can change that later as far as where you want the rocket to be. I'm thinking about having it be blasted apart by Mr. Snake there. But there you go, a particle system tied with another object and then keyframe together. I really like the transparency you can see in between there. Maybe I can give it a little bit of a bend and have it go up and over. It's going to work pretty slowly now. I'm at half resolution, and it's still rendering fairly slowly there. So as this scene gets more and more complicated, it's going to render slower and slower.